Hello. So today I'm going to be talking about the movie Don't Look Up that was published on Netflix in 2021. In the previous video I spoke about the movie Kate that was also published on Netflix around the same time and how that movie is based on me and the things that have happened in my life. This movie, Don't Look Up, is a similar affair in that the main character is also based on me, and the movie contains many of the same underlying themes and symbolism and similar parallels to things that have happened in my life. This movie is, on a surface level, about scientists warning about a comet coming to hit the Earth and being ignored, and is presented as an allegory for climate change and how scientists are ignored. But as I will show in this video, it is in fact about the same themes of gender, Christianity, and the Book of Revelation that I spoke about in the previous video, and predictive programming for agendas taking place on the world stage today and in the future. In this video, I'm going to be talking about this underlying symbolism, how it connects to other movies and the larger agenda at play, and how this character in particular relates to me, and why I'm the one making this video. I'll start off by giving a brief summary of the plot. The movie starts off with PhD candidate Kate DiBiase discovering a comet that is heading towards Earth, and works out together with Dr. Randall Mindy that the comet is due to impact the Earth in 6 months and 14 days. They end up going to the White House to speak to the president, but are left waiting all day. Kate gets high in her hotel room, and she speaks about an ongoing scandal with a senator. Kate and Randall manage to finally speak to the president the next day, who doesn't take them seriously. They next go on a talk show to talk about the comet, but again they are distracted by a trivial love story with pop star Riley Biener, portrayed by Ariana Grande. When Kate and Randall eventually get on to talking about the comet, they are again not taken seriously, and Kate eventually storms off the show. Afterwards, they are shown internet reactions to and memes about their TV appearance, told how the head of NASA is calling it near-miss hysteria, and more about how little notice the story is getting. Kate is then arrested by the FBI for breach of national security secrets, and they are again taken to the White House where the president, in order to distract from a political scandal, has agreed to take the issue seriously. She gives a speech from a Navy ship with Kate and Randall standing behind her, which is broadcast around the world. Randall again appears on the Daily Rip talk show and ends up sleeping with one of the hosts. Kate also appears on a TV show to talk about the comet. A rocket is sent up to divert the comet, but the mission is suddenly aborted mid-flight. This turns out to be due to the intervention of tech billionaire Peter Isherwell, head of Bash Cellular, who wants to mine the comet for trillions of dollars worth of rare minerals. Kate then shouts this out in a bar, which triggers a riot, and she is again arrested for violation of national security secrets. She then agrees to stop talking about the comet and goes to see her parents, who refuse to let her in. She later meets a character called Yule while working in a shop and ends up hanging out with him. Randall's wife confronts him and the host of the TV show that he is sleeping with. His next appearance on the show results in an outburst of frustration at the situation, which results in him also being arrested. Kate is then able to see the comet with the naked eye, which results in the turning of the tide of public opinion as more people begin to realize the reality of the threat. The president, now committed to mining the comet for resources, starts a campaign called Don't Look Up, urging people not to take the threat seriously. A concert is then held at Wembley Stadium where Kate and Randall talk on stage, and pop star Riley Biener sings the song Just Look Up. Public opinion then turns against the president as her supporters are able to see the comet for themselves and realize that they have been lied to. The mission to mine the asteroid ends up failing, and Kate, Yule, and Randall have one last meal with Randall's family, saying grace together before the comet impacts and destroys the planet. In a post-credits scene, the president and billionaires have escaped the Earth and landed on an alien planet where the president, as predicted earlier in the movie by Peter Isherwell, is eaten by a brontorock. Like with the movie Kate, there are so many things I could say about this movie. But first, let's look at this plot point here. In the movie, there is a female president based on Donald Trump. She is always seen near her son and Chief of Staff, Jason Orlean, who is based on J.D. Vance, which I will get into later, despite this movie coming out 3 years before he was nominated or elected. The character Peter Isherwell is based on Elon Musk, a tech billionaire with space rockets who is close to the president. Peter Isherwell tells the president that she will be eaten by a Bronteroc based on the predictions of his AI program, like Elon Musk is now heavily invested in AI with his Grok program. At the end of the movie, his prediction comes true and she is in fact eaten by a Bronteroc. This word is made up as a numerology riddle, as the word Bronteroc has the exact same numerology as the word president. Remember, she is based on Donald Trump, the 47th President of the United States, like the numerology of the words president and Bronteroc. Before she is eaten by a Bronteroc, it even has this line of dialogue. We only had 47 dead in our section, with the 47th President on the screen at the time. This takes us on to the next numerology riddle around which this movie is based. The main character is Kate Dibiasky, and the comet is named after her, Comet Dibiasky. There are a few subtle hints along the way as to what this character represents. She is an astronomer, a PhD candidate. She has a bold, assertive presence. The opening scene shows her making tea, spreading jam on toast, singing along to a rap song, typing on a computer for an astronomy program to operate a telescope, and doing advanced mathematical calculations. Early on, there is this joke about how her boyfriend's mother asks if she is a lesbian. She is almost always shown wearing the colour green, which, as I discussed in the previous video, is symbolic of non-duality. The name Dibiasky is chosen because it is a numerology riddle for the word Baphomet, that is, the concept that represents the alchemical union of opposites and the principle of correspondence. As I spoke about in the videos I made before this, the kingdom of heaven and eclipsing duality, this is all about the alchemical principles of gender and correspondence, as above, so below. Kate is an astronomer, like the principle of correspondence is all about the sky, the stars, like the title of this movie is about whether or not to look up to the kingdom of heaven. As it says in the Lord's Prayer, "Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven." I know that this isn't an easy concept for many people to accept, that people don't want to hear it, that most people do not want to listen to these ideas or have their views challenged, that like in the movie, most people will ignore this or try to dismiss it as crazy, but this is the truth. This is in fact what Christianity and the system that has always run the world is really about. I know all of these things because, like I said in the previous video, this character is based on me and the body I was born with is intersex, and I have been given this deep level of knowledge and understanding about the stars in the kingdom of heaven. In order to understand all of this, I developed my own computer program to do with astrology and numerology, just like the program Kate uses in the movie, just like Kate repeatedly talks about numbers in the movie. I started developing this program years before the movie came out, and this software took thousands and thousands of lines of code to develop. Just like Kate in the movie warns about a comet coming and is ignored, I am left to explain how the comet in this movie is in fact about the falling star Wormwood in the Book of Revelation, and I will likely be ignored. In the previous video, I spoke about how the movie Kate and the things it is related to are full of the same symbolism, and like in the movie Don't Look Up, this was ignored. In that video, I also spoke about how the Kate character, like in the movie Don't Look Up, is also depicted wearing the colour green, the symbolic significance of this and how it relates to the themes and colour scheming of these movies. This is something that is also emphasised elsewhere, that I will also talk about in subsequent videos. Next, there is the scene where the president, supposedly pointing at Dr. Randall Mindy, but in fact pointing at Kate, says the line of dialogue, "And he will help us destroy our common enemy Dibiasky." This visual trick is also employed in the movie Sam and Kate that came out around the same time, where the Kate character is supposedly talking about a female character and says the line, "Are you high? Did you get her high?" but is in fact pointing at the character Sam. The Kate character in this movie is also smart, like the Kate character in Don't Look Up, a musician like me, and wears similar clothes to me, also including the colour green. She lives in house number 115, like the numerology of the name Kate, like the number 115 is also emphasised in the promotional imagery for the movie Kate, and there were 426 days between the release of that movie and the movie Kate, also like the numerology of the word Kate. In the previous video, I spoke about how the astrology of the movie Kate relates to the themes of the movie and my life, and how there were 11,060 days between the day the movie was released and the day I was born, matching the numerology of my name and the title of the movie. Likewise, Don't Look Up was released around the same time, 11,166 days after I was born, like 116, again matching the numerology of my name and the character in the movie. In the video I made about the movie Kate, I spoke about how it was heavily related to the movie Gunpowder Milkshake that came out around the same time, with similar aesthetics, clothes and plot points. The main character in that movie is called Sam. Sam, Kate, Sam and Kate in Don't Look Up, with this same visual trick. And all these movies with the same underlying themes coming out around the same time. The movie Don't Look Up also stars Ariana Grande, who I also spoke about in the previous video, also once starred in a TV show called Sam and Cat, where she had dyed red hair, like me, and the character Kate in the movie. There are various other specific details about the movie Sam and Kate that tie specifically to my life. In Don't Look Up, Kate is depicted as having a relationship with the character Yule, and in the movie Sam and Kate, Kate is depicted as having a relationship with the character Sam, and there are various other things about this that I could go into, but for now I want to keep this focused on the movie Don't Look Up. In the movie Sam and Kate, the character Sam is a Christian Jew, and they meet in a church. In the movie Don't Look Up, Yule says the prayer as they say grace before their Last Supper. In the previous video I spoke about the subtle theme of the Last Supper in the movie Kate, and there is even a sign at one point in that movie that says the Last Supper in Japanese. Kate is shown drinking red wine at the Last Supper, just as Kate is shown drinking red wine in the movie Kate, which leads to her death later that night. Like I said earlier, the President is a female character based on Donald Trump and her son. The Chief of Staff is based on J.D. Vance, and the tech billionaire Peter Ishmael is based on Elon Musk. This film is fundamentally based on the theme of gender and the kingdom of heaven. One of the markers of sexual dimorphism in humans is the digit ratio, that is, the comparative length of the index finger and ring finger. Men tend to have significantly shorter index fingers than ring fingers, and this trait, the more it is exaggerated, is associated with masculinity, competitiveness, assertiveness, and aggression. Women with this trait tend to be more masculine and tend to be same-sex attracted. Women tend to have index fingers a similar length or the index finger slightly longer than the ring finger. Significantly longer index fingers are associated with roles like caretakers, homemakers, nurses, and teachers, and it is associated with a more emotional and empathetic personality type. Digit ratio is highly correlated with brain sex, is determined by prenatal hormone levels in the womb, and is fixed for life. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and J.D. Vance all have female digit ratios, with J.D. Vance in particular having a very exaggerated female digit ratio. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are often depicted making this particular hand sign. The character Peter Ishmael makes this statement in the movie that mining the comet will result in humanity striding through the pillars of Boaz and Joachim naked into the glory of a golden age, with Boaz and Joachim representing the pillars of duality and walking through the pillars representing taking the middle path, separation from material duality. This character that is based on J.D. Vance is depicted with this feminine stance, carrying a handbag and with a shallow preoccupation with watches and material luxury. He says at one point, "But I also want to give a prayer for stuff, this dope stuff, like material stuff, like sick apartments and watches and cars, and clothes and shit that could all go away, and I don't want to see that stuff go away, so I'm going to say a prayer for that stuff. Amen." This point about digit ratios is also a central motif in the Hunger Games, where the characters salute with 3 fingers, showing their digit ratio. The lead role in the Hunger Games is also portrayed by Jennifer Lawrence, who plays Kate DiBiase in this movie. It also stars Woody Harrelson, who portrayed one of the main characters in the Kate movie. There is more connecting this movie that I will get into later. In Don't Look Up, the President and her Chief of Staff lead the campaign Don't Look Up, urging people not to take the comet seriously. They are depicted as manipulating and lying to their working class followers, who they in fact look down on. In one speech, the President states, "And do you know why they want you to look up? Do you know why? Because they want you to be afraid. They want you to look up because they are looking down their noses at you. They think they're better than you." However, later on her son states, "There's 3 types of American people. There are you, the working class, us, the cool rich, and then them. I'm sorry, but we need them. We need them because you build us up to fight them. The working class, the lower." Later on, as their followers realize that they have been lied to, they begin throwing bottles at the stage and he states, "You cut my face, you fucking rednecks." This is highly reminiscent of Donald Trump, who, despite being a billionaire, speaks in a dumbed-down way to appeal to the same kind of working-class audience and thanks, in his words, the poorly educated for his victory in becoming president. Early on, when Kate and Randall meet the president at the White House, the president says, "Okay, funny story. When I was running for president, I had to sneak cigarettes for the whole first month of the campaign because, photographs of me smoking went for what, $100 a pop? So I'm always hiding. But I just got sick of it and I just said, you know what? I'm just going to smoke whenever I want to. Guess what happened? I went up 3 points in the polls." There's a shot of an award calling her Lady Biz, like Trump is associated with business. Jason Orlean, the president's son, then says, "They love that she kept it real. They love watching a smoke show smoke. I can't think of another president that I'd ever want to see in Playboy." Later on, he says, "Is that a rock-solid 10 smoke show of a president or what? If she wasn't my mother." Reminding us of the lewd comment Donald Trump once made about his own daughter when he said, "I've always said, if she wasn't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her." Kate, on the other hand, however, despite being academically gifted, hard-working and driven, has nothing, and is pushed around and mistreated by those in power. In the scene in the bar, she says, "So they're going to let the comet hit the planet to make a bunch of rich people even more disgustingly rich," which triggers a riot. After she is arrested, Dr. Oglethorpe says to her, "Now I'm starting to think you just like riling people up." Kate mockingly says to Randall, "Oh, where's Brie Avanti? Shouldn't you two be playing footsie in a restaurant that only serves cubes and foam?" To which he responds, "And what do you suggest we do? An online petition, huh? You want to get a mob and hold up picket signs? You want to overthrow the government? I mean, look at this." In the video, The Kingdom of Heaven, I spoke at length about how everything happening on the world stage today is about the age of Aquarius, and how one of the central themes of this age is about knowledge and eccentric individuals rising up against the power structure. Everything about the way these scenes are set up ties into this theme, with Kate sharing knowledge about the government that leads to a riot, how in the next scene she is forced to sign an agreement to not talk about the comet, and is charged with violation of national security secrets. Kate is shown working in a store and hanging out with Yule and his friends, showing how she is one of the people as opposed to the rich and powerful in-group. The president's son at one point refers to her as the boy with the dragon tattoo. Perhaps this is to emphasize the theme of how Kate is mistreated, as the girl with the dragon tattoo is also about someone who has suffered abuse and is hardened by it. On that note, in the previous video I also spoke about the birthmark on my face and how it was emphasized in the movie Kate. I also spoke about the one-eye symbolism in that movie and how it reflects my own personal astrology. In the movie Don't Look Up, there is a spoof social media challenge to fire a rocket into your own face to celebrate the launch of the rocket to destroy the comet, which leads to this shot of a girl with a black eye. In the previous video I made about the movie Kate, I spoke about how it ties into astrology related to the Book of Revelation, and how that relates to my own personal astrology, which is reflected in the themes of the movie. Kate in this movie reflects the role of Ganymede, who is the mythological figure depicted in the constellation of Aquarius. There is a shot of her early on after being flown to the White House with 2 wings coming out from behind her, like Ganymede is carried up by an eagle in the myth, which is represented by the adjacent constellation of Aquila, the eagle. In that video, I also spoke about how it is connected to symbolism to do with Revelation 12, where the woman is given 2 wings of the great eagle. Over the past few years, there has been a top-down manufactured agenda pushing gender ideology. This began around the time Lady Gaga released the song Born This Way. Not long after that, Chelsea Manning, a trans woman, was charged with leaking classified documents, along with Edward Snowden, who leaked information about the NSA spying on American citizens. All around this time was the pushing of the Pride agenda and rainbow flags. A transvestite won the Eurovision Song Contest, and gender ideology was becoming more and more mainstream. There were notable cases such as Caitlyn Jenner and Elliot Page. This eventually led to things like Drag Queen Story Hour, the constant forcing of stories about drag queens, which leads us to where we are now, with the top-down manufactured backlash against gender ideology. Donald Trump has repeatedly made statements against gender ideology and passed laws stripping trans people of rights. Sites like the Daily Mail have run article after article stoking concerns about the rise in children receiving treatment for gender dysphoria. Author J.K. Rowling, who has a Solve et Coagula tattoo on her arm, like Eliphas Levy's depiction of Baphomet, has also been featured in the media over and over again, speaking about the dangers of gender ideology, which has led to laws also being passed in the UK attempting to strip trans people of rights. This, however, is a game of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, problem, reaction, solution. The reality is that trans and intersex people have always existed, will always continue to exist, and that all of these people, such as Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and J.K. Rowling, who appear to aggressively take one side of the issue, are, like in the movie Don't Look Up, lying to and manipulating their followers. Part of what they say is true. There are serious dangers to gender ideology, and it can and has destroyed lives. But these people are collateral damage to the kingdom of heaven, the beast system that always has been and always will be. Elon Musk, who has a daughter who is openly trans, repeatedly makes negative posts on X about gender ideology, feigning ignorance about the other aspects to these issues. In the previous video, I spoke about the importance in numerology of perfect numbers and eclipses. Elon Musk was born on the 28th of June, like 628, the first two perfect numbers, and was born a span of 379 days before the next total solar eclipse, like the numerology of the word perfect. He rebranded the website Twitter to X on the 24th of July 2023 in reference to the two total solar eclipses over America that formed an X with their paths. This was 19 months 20 days after the first eclipse, like the numerology of the word eclipse, and 259 days before the second eclipse, like the numerology of the word perfect, just like it was a span of 259 days after the previous total lunar eclipse. In the movie, the comet, when it is discovered, is due to hit the Earth in 6 months and 14 days, which, depending on where you count it from, is 28 weeks, like the perfect number. As it happens, counting 6 months and 14 days or exactly 28 weeks from the release of the movie takes you to the 8th of July 2022. This was the day that Shinzo Abe, former Prime Minister of Japan, was assassinated, and I have quite a bit to say about this in another video, as it very much ties into the movie Kate, that was set in Japan, where Kate kills a character called Shinzo and a character called Sato. Like on that day, Shinzo Abe was campaigning alongside a candidate called Kei Sato. J.D. Vance, who has numerous other things connecting him to me, was born on the 2nd of August, the date that is written 2/8, like the second perfect number 28. This was also 81 months and 28 days before I was born, like 8,128, the fourth perfect number. Between the day I was born and the day he became Vice President of the United States was 33 years, 33 weeks, and 3 days, like the numerology of the word eclipse. I also have the same exaggerated female digit ratio as him, and like Kate in the movie, I have an emotional personality to match it. Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and J.D. Vance are presented on the world stage as rich and right-wing. However, their digit ratios are the opposite of what one would expect to find for people who end up in roles of business leader, tech billionaire, and right-wing politician. When these people make these kind of comments about gender ideology, they are walking the middle path, showing that they understand and acknowledge the dangers of their ideology, but they are playing out a game, acting out a plan for a grander agenda. In this game, like Kate in the movie, I am forced to play the role of Ganymede, speaking about this information, giving out this knowledge like Ganymede spills the water. Like Kate in the movie, I have been mistreated by those in power, despite committing no crime. In the ending of the movie Kate speaks about this system and how she's not looking away from it anymore. These are some of the things that have led me to make these videos and talk about all of this. Personally, I don't have a problem with any of these people. In the movie Don't Look Up, Kate is forced to sign an agreement not to talk about the comet or government secrets anymore, and she agrees, saying, "Fine, I don't give a shit anymore." Like the character in the movie, I don't want to have to talk about any of this, and I don't want to be at odds with any of these people, no matter how much the group they are part of has hurt me. Next, I want to talk about the Hunger Games. Like I said, the lead role in this movie is also portrayed by Jennifer Lawrence. In those movies, she plays the character Katniss Everdeen, which is a numerology riddle representing the phrase Kate Evening Star, where the evening star is the planet Venus. This relates to the divine feminine code. The planet Venus orbits the Sun 13 times for every 8 times the Earth orbits the Sun. As 8 and 13 are Fibonacci numbers, this results in the path of Venus relative to the Earth following a flower pattern. This is sometimes called the Rose of Venus or Venus Rose, and this is how the planet Venus has its association with beauty. These two phrases have the numerology of 138, like the 13:8 orbit ratio, as does the phrase Queen of Heaven. Jennifer Lawrence was born on the day leaving 138 days in the year, and the movie Don't Look Up has a running time of 138 minutes. The phrase Divine Feminine also has numerology of 138 and 911. On September 11, 2001, the planet Venus was at 138 degrees of the ecliptic. Jennifer Lawrence was born exactly 18 Venusian years before this event, like the numerology of the word Venus. She was also born 9 months and 15 days before me, which is also like the 915 numerology of the phrase Divine Feminine. This time span was also 2 Venusian days and 55 Earth days, like the 255 numerology of my name. I spoke a little bit about the Revelation 12 symbolism in the movie Don't Look Up, and in the previous video I spoke a bit more about how the movie Kate and things that have happened in my life were connected to the Revelation 12 alignment that occurred on September 23rd, 2017. This occurred on a day that connects with the numerology of my name and the title of the movie Kate, and the movie Don't Look Up was released exactly 222 weeks after that alignment, like the numerology of my name, the title of the movie Kate, and the character in this movie. This alignment occurred 27 years, 5 weeks, and 4 days after Jennifer Lawrence was born, like the numerology of the word Venus. Shortly after the Revelation 12 sign, Jennifer Lawrence became a leading voice in the Me Too movement. This started on October 15, 2017, 22 days after the alignment, like the numerology of the phrase Me Too. This was also 27 years and 2 months after Jennifer Lawrence was born, like the Fibonacci numerology of the word Venus. This was also 138 days after my birthday. Remember how Kate in the movie is an astronomer and precise with numbers and planets? The character Katniss Everdeen is also repeatedly depicted with wings, like the woman in Revelation 12, and with a bow and arrow, like the first rider in Revelation 6. I spoke in the previous video about how the movie Kate has clear and repeated symbolism connected with Revelation 6 too, and how this connects to my life and the larger agenda at play with coronavirus, where corona means crown, like the rider is given a crown and a bow. In the previous video, I spoke about how in the movie Kate sleeps with a character called Stephen, which means crown, and his clear association with Revelation 6:2 symbolism, with them talking about horses. In the movie Don't Look Up, Kate starts out in a relationship with someone called Philip, which means horse lover or fond of horses, coming from the Greek philos hippos or philippos. In the Hunger Games, Katniss Everdeen is teamed up with Peter Malark to win the 74th Hunger Games. This is another important number that I will get into in a later video, but this is relevant because my twin is also called Peter. On the day we were born, the planet Venus was conjunct the hand of one of the twins, like I have this female digit ratio on my hand, like the digit ratio is emphasized with the salute in the Hunger Games, and in the imagery that was used for the Me Too movement. Like Kate in the movie Don't Look Up plays the role of Ganymede in the Age of Aquarius theming, as a representative of the people speaking out against the corrupt elite. The character Katniss Everdeen also becomes a representative of the people against a corrupt ruling class. In Don't Look Up, the main character is called Kate, and the antithesis of Kate is Peter Ishmael. It is in the Gospel of Thomas, meaning twin, that Jesus talks about making the two one. If you put together these two names, it becomes Keter, which means crown in Hebrew, like the highest Sephiroth on the middle pillar of the Kabbalistic tree of life. Remember, in the movie, Peter Ishmael directly mentions walking through the two pillars, Boaz and Joachim. Here again is the theme of the middle path, the eclipse and the crown that I have spoken about repeatedly in all of these videos. The word crown in English has numerology of 28, the perfect number, and 62, like how all of this relates to Revelation 6:2, where the rider is given a crown, and the word Keter in Hebrew has numerology of 620, like how in the movie the comet is due to hit the Earth in 6 months and 14 days, that is, 6 months, 2 weeks and 0 days, like 62 and 620. perfect numbers, eclipses, and crowns coming together again. Next, I want to speak more about how this character, Kate DiBiase, relates to me personally. Other than what I've already said earlier on in this video, she looks similar to me, has dyed red hair like I have dyed my hair red multiple times, wears similar clothes to me, including fingerless gloves which I often wear. The look for this character apparently came from a discussion with a NASA scientist. Why would a NASA scientist insist on this particular look for this character? Perhaps it was because they somehow had access to a recent picture of me. There are multiple shots of her standing next to the character Randall Mindy, who also has a strong physical resemblance to my boyfriend. These would have been the most recent photos of us in the couple of years before filming began on this movie. When we first got together, he was nervous like the character in the movie, and had his beard grown out like the character in the movie. After we got together, he became more confident like the character in the movie, and at my suggestion cut his beard much shorter, just like the character in the movie, and there is a scene with dialogue specifically talking about this. Back then I remember joking about how we were like Homer and Mindy in the episode of The Simpsons, even singing the song from the episode, and then the character's name in the movie ended up being Mindy. There is a scene later on in the movie where they are in a supermarket and Randall picks up a salmon and says, "Look at this, Kate, they have wild salmon. Look at the difference between that and the farm-raised stuff. You see how that just looks, I don't know, looks fake, right?" I'm pretty sure he has said something like that to me, almost word for word in a supermarket in real life before. Next, I want to talk about these scenes that this movie has in common with the Kate movie. In Don't Look Up, Kate is shown drinking red wine in the Last Supper scene, just like in the movie Kate, where Kate is also shown drinking red wine in a scene that has subtle theming of the Last Supper, as she is poisoned from it and dies later on that night. In the movie Don't Look Up, Kate is also shown intoxicated, alone in a hotel room. In the previous video I made about the movie Kate, I spoke about how this echoes lyrics from a song I wrote years before these movies came out, and how I have also had my drink spiked and been drugged and poisoned in ways that mirror scenes in these movies. I spoke about how at the end of last year I was living alone and drugged repeatedly. Before that happened, I was given a green jumper with the Michigan State University logo, very similar to the one Kate wears in the movie. I was alone in a room, drugged without my knowledge or consent, and even dressed like in the scene in the movie. And to top it off, I ended up in that room alone after I'd gone to stay with my parents and they refused to let me in for no clear reason, just like the scene in the movie. Kate is repeatedly shown throughout the movie being mistreated by those in power, stressed out and ruminating on an event that occurs early on in the movie when a general at the White House charges them an extortionate amount of money for snacks that were actually free. Although this is played for comedic effect, this is what it is like for me, with these myriad weird mind games played on me throughout my life, going round and round in my head as I am given more tools to see the reasons and deeper symbolism for them. Like me, it doesn't matter that what Kate says is true, rational, and the sane response to the situation. She is dismissed as crazy, and even her own parents refuse to listen to her or show her basic respect, simply because the rich and powerful told them so. Sometime after watching this movie, I ended up watching the movie Labyrinth, which I later found out is a movie that, like the Wizard of Oz series, is sometimes used in trauma-based mind control programs. In the movie, the main character ends up in a dream world born out of her preoccupation with a fairy tale book called The Labyrinth. In the dream world, she is given a set amount of time to solve the labyrinth in order to save her baby brother. In the dream world, things don't make much sense, and the rules seem to constantly change, and there is no choice but to keep going. I quote from Fritz Springmeier. Although the movie is fiction, it is close enough to how a monarch's mind thinks that an adult monarch slave might well have his or her programming reinforced if they saw this film. It would also trigger many monarch slaves and create fear in them. Alters within a monarch system are not allowed to stray from the path assigned to them. If they try to move out of their assigned spot in the mind, then they encounter traps, mazes, tunnels, and demons just like in the movie Labyrinth. An internal world of a monarch's mind will have brick walls, doors, and vortex tunnels just like in the movie. When the girl falls into a vortex, she has magician hands all over her. Monarch victims speak of what vortexes are like, and they often describe hands coming out of nowhere. This is very similar to the kind of feelings that the trauma-based mind control programming that I have been subjected to, that I spoke about in the previous video, has induced in me. In my art, I have used the motifs of black holes and electric fences, similar to the vortexes and brick walls spoken about here. The feeling that the only way to escape all of the pain is through submission and compliance. Not long after I watched this film, despite never having heard of it before, and the film having come out decades prior, I went into a shop and saw a shelf full of merchandise related to the film, and then came across this book and how it is used in mind control to reinforce programming in adults. All of this reminds me of these two songs by the band Radiohead. There are barn doors and there are revolving doors, doors in the rudders of big ships. There are doors that open by themselves, there are sliding doors and there are secret doors. There are doors that lock and doors that don't. There are doors that let you in and out but never open, and there are trap doors that you can't come back from. Looking into this song, I found this. The lyrics are most likely based off a 1973 Childcraft book titled How Things Work that has many identical themes to the Radiohead song. Images of labyrinths were a great inspiration for the band during the amnesiac period. All these doors are related. A children's book and labyrinths. Curious. Next is this song in Limbo. Dundee Fastnet Irish Sea, I got a message I can't read, another message I can't read. I'm on your side, nowhere to hide. Trapdoors that open, I spiral down. You're living in a fantasy world. I'm lost at sea, don't bother me. I've lost my way, I've lost my way. You're living in a fantasy world, the most beautiful woman in the world. Again, spiraling down through trapdoors into the vortex, lost in a maze of doors, escaping into a world of imagination. Tom York, despite apparently having gone through this same kind of mind control programming, has a family, a band, a producer, a home, lots of expensive equipment, money, and an audience to help him cope with it, whereas I have none of these things. In the movie Kate says, I want a life. You know, I never had one, and my life wasn't my own. The movie Don't Look Up, however, makes light of what this feels like, but for me, behind this expression, this kind of rumination, is this kind of labyrinth of torment. Jennifer Lawrence said that filming the opening scene of Don't Look Up was the worst day of her life. Imagine waking up to that feeling every day without the comfort of the knowledge that, at the end of filming, you get to go home to your nice house, family, money, and knowledge that there are lots of things to do and look forward to in the future. This first shot of catching the pot reminds me of this scene in a song I wrote in 2018. Gotta punch the clock and beat the rush, catch the pot, it's boiling over. Don't know why there's so much pressure, don't know why I care if it's all for nothing. In fact, the entire plot of this movie reminds me of the lyrics to this song I wrote initially in 2015 called Hometown. At the time I was living in Japan and thinking a lot about where I came from, thinking about the differences between the two cultures. Around that time I would put rough ideas and demos I had on a YouTube channel, including the initial idea I had for this song, Hometown, and another with this image in it. In 2018, the Japanese rock band, Asian Kung Fu Generation, released an album called Hometown with this cover, just like the image in the demo I made with the same title as my song that I uploaded around the same time years prior. Their album, also featuring this Christian symbolism on the cover, is curious for Japan, a country where only around 1% of the population is Christian, but not so curious when you understand that it is connected to the movies Kate and Don't Look Up, which have a heavy Christian subtext. The movie Kate is set in Japan, and both the movies Kate and Don't Look Up feature shots of Shibuya Crossing, which happens to not be far from where I used to live and work. When this is shown in Don't Look Up, Kate is on the monitor, and beneath her is the text, Sekai Senshuken Shodai no Jo'ou no Zai Tomeru, which can be translated as, the first world-leading queen is crowned, or takes the throne, which would fit in with the Revelation 6:2 theme that I have spoken about at length. This album by Asian Kung Fu Generation and other things that this band have done have referenced my work numerous times, even going as far as directly lifting a guitar line from a song that I never released. There is a lot more to this story, and it is in fact heavily connected to the movie Kate. For example, this album came out a span of 37 lunar orbits before the Kate movie was released, like the numerology of my name and the title of the movie. But these things are outside of the scope of this video. The point is that, for whatever reason, somebody involved in putting all of this together undeniably took notice of this song in particular. As I said in the previous video, my hometown is Ipswich, which is connected to the 1984 theme. This is underlined in the movie Kate, is emphasized in numerous places in my own artwork, and also by the band Asian Kung Fu Generation referencing my artwork. After the band released this album, I revisited this song, reworked it, and made a full demo of it. Here are the lyrics. In particular, this line, "Oh, sweet burning asteroid, I'm waiting for you to rain down on my hometown." This is just like the plot of the movie Don't Look Up. The tone of this song, the previous song I showed, and much of my art has this same tone reflected in the way the Kate character in the movie is portrayed, exasperated, mistreated by those in power, overwhelmed with pain. In 2020, I also wrote this song, which in the context of the album that it was on, uses a nuclear explosion as a metaphor for mental and spiritual liberation. I wrote this song not too long after having watched the TV series Chernobyl. In the movie Don't Look Up, there is a shot of a massive, apparently nuclear explosion with a mushroom cloud at a Russian launch complex, and the movie ends with a comet hitting the Earth. This takes us back to the Revelation 8 wormwood symbolism that I spoke about extensively in the previous video. Just as a reminder, Revelation 8, 10 and 11 states, "Then the third angel sounded his trumpet, and a great star burning like a torch fell from heaven, and landed on a third of the rivers and on the springs of water. The name of the star is Wormwood. A third of the waters turned bitter like wormwood oil, and many people died from the bitter waters." In the previous video, I spoke about how the movie Kate and my life are connected to Revelation 12 symbolism and the Manchester Arena bombing, which was an explosion at an Ariana Grande concert. This movie literally features Ariana Grande singing at a concert, an explosion, and a falling comet. Remember, this movie came out a span of 222 weeks after the Revelation 12 sign that was connected to the Manchester Arena bombing, like the numerology of my name and the main character in this movie. Between the day I was born and the day Ariana Grande was born was 2 years and 26 days, like 226, the numerology of my name, on the 177th day of the year, like the numerology of my name, and on June 26th, like 626, which is also the numerology of my name. The plot of this movie is that Kate is the one to warn the world of the impending disaster. This is reminiscent of the David Bowie character Ziggy Stardust, who I spoke about in the previous video, a gender-ambiguous rock and roll messiah who comes to warn the earth of impending disaster, who also has red hair and was also seen with this eye patch. I spoke in the previous video about the connections I have to Wormwood and this character, but there is much more I have to get into before I can talk about the rest of my thoughts on this. I think that's all that I have to say about this movie for now, although for me this movie kind of lives in the shadow of the movie Kate in terms of how much impact it has had on me and how intense and layered the themes are in that movie. This movie, Don't Look Up, was in fact for a long time the second most watched movie on Netflix, and the character is a lot closer to how I am in real life. Like I said in the previous video, these movies were made without my knowledge or consent, and I have been subject to trauma-based mind control that has left me with nothing. I only found out about this movie while trying to find out more about the Kate movie, which I only found out about 6 months after it was released due to a series of intense psyops and being subliminally led to finding it on my own. Again, these movies aren't the only things that happened around that time, and it will take many videos to explain all of it. However, I personally think that both of these movies are excellent. Seeing both of them was surreal, even though the way everything was done to me was unbelievably psychotic and absolutely debilitating. That's all for now. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.